I once literally financed a $13 bottle of body wash. You must be laughing, but yeah, 4 payments for soap. But I'm not the only one. 1 in 3 Gen Zers has used buy now, pay later for things like fast food. That's because it feels easy, harmless, and with no interest. But behind that friendly checkout button is over $24 billion in debt, and a growing trap disguised as convenience. So what's the real cost of paying later? It's time to disclose the secret. In 2024, Americans used buy now, pay later services to purchase over $75 billion worth of goods. That's more than the GDP of Panama. It's enough money to buy every ticket to every Taylor Swift concert 6 times over, or pay for every NFL, NBA, and MLB team 10 times over. And most of these purchases are not emergency expenses or even medical bills. We're talking about makeup, headphones, throw pillows, matching pajama sets, and yes, Stanley Cups. But where did this even come from? If you're thinking, isn't this just layaway with Wi-Fi? Then yeah, kind of, but worse. Back in the day, layaway meant you couldn't take the item home until you paid it off. It was delayed gratification with training wheels. Then came credit cards, which allowed you to spend now and pay later, and ideally manage it like a responsible adult. But credit cards came with things like interest rates, hard credit checks, and painful APRs. Just then, buy now, pay later swooped in, looking like the good guy. Get it now, pay later, like a friend fronting you cash with no judgment. However, here's where it gets sneaky. Stores that offer buy now, pay later see an average order value increase of up to 40%. People buy more, they click faster, and they don't feel the financial hit all at once. And that's not an accident. It's design. Buy now, pay later is a behavioral trap dressed in millennial pink and Gen Z aesthetic. Take its psychological trick, for example. It taps into what's called temporal discounting, which is basically your brain values stuff right now way more than stuff in the future. You'd rather have the sneakers today and worry about the payments later. Future you can deal with that. Future you has it together, right? Wrong. Future you is stressed because payments pile up, people forget, emergencies happen, and even if you do remember to pay, buy now, pay later companies still have their claws in you. So now let's talk in numbers. As of last year, 1 in every 3 buy now, pay later users missed a payment. Not once, but repeatedly, and nearly 72% of those people were under 35. From the statistics, it appears to be designed to take advantage of young adults. And here's where it starts to hurt. Most buy now, pay later platforms charge a late fee, typically anywhere from $7 to $30. Some cap it, others don't, and while it might not seem like a big deal, those tiny fees add up fast. One study from LendingTree showed that the average user who missed payments racked up $176 in fees in a single year, for a payment method that was supposed to be interest-free. Oh, and did I mention, buy now, pay later can affect your credit score now. Some platforms report to credit bureaus. Others don't. It's basically financial roulette. And that's the danger. The system is opaque. You think you're playing a low-stakes game, but you're actually signing up for a mini loan, subject to terms you probably didn't read because they were in size 8 font under the Complete Order button. For that, let's pull up a real case. Meet Jacqueline, 33, from Newcastle, Australia. At 25, Jacqueline began using buy now, pay later services and credit cards for everyday purchases. Over time, these small debts accumulated, and she found herself owing $40,000. The mounting debt led to sleepless nights and significant stress, bringing her close to bankruptcy. Determined to regain control of her finances, Jacqueline listed all her debts and adopted the snowball method, focusing on paying off smaller debts first to build momentum. She relinquished control of her buy now, pay later accounts to her family to prevent further misuse. Additionally, she worked multiple jobs, sold personal items, and joined financial literacy programs to improve her money management skills. Over 2 years, Jacqueline reduced her debt from $40,000 to $4,500. Her journey underscores the potential pitfalls of buy now, pay later services and the importance of financial discipline. But why does this keep happening? That's because buy now, pay later isn't built to help you manage money. It's built to help you spend more of it. And in a culture where convenience beats caution, that makes buy now, pay later dangerous in disguise. These companies aren't just payment processors. They're data harvesters. They know what you buy, when you buy, how impulsively you shop, and what products make you hesitate. Every click, every checkout, every installment plan tells them something about your financial psychology. And that information is priceless. Not for you, for them. The more they know, the more they can design products to make you buy again and again and again. So maybe that bottle of body wash wasn't $13 after all. Maybe it was $13 plus 3 more purchases, plus the dopamine hit that led to another just 4 easy payments. So suddenly, your finances aren't yours anymore. They're being gamified, nudged, and nudged again. Most people assume, they're giving me interest-free payments, how are they even making money? It feels like a good deal, a win-win. But behind that smiling pay later option is a layered strategy, and each piece is built to monetize a different part of your behavior. Let's start with what's hiding in plain sight: merchant fees. Every time you use buy now, pay later, the retailer you're buying from is giving the buy now, pay later provider 4 to 6% of the transaction value. That's higher than a credit card processing fee, and they're happy to pay it. Why? Because buy now, pay later users spend more. Klarna, for example, reports that shoppers using installment payments spend 68% more per order than those who don't. It's not about helping you budget, it's about helping you buy more. And just like that, buy now, pay later becomes a revenue engine not for you, but for everyone around you. You know those small late fees, $7 here, $10 there, that don't seem like a big deal? They're a goldmine. Afterpay, for example, generates 20% of its revenue from late fees alone. It's subtle, almost like a nudge. But multiply that across tens of millions of users, and suddenly, late fees aren't a backup plan, they're a core revenue stream. And here's the kicker: most buy now, pay later platforms don't do full credit checks. They're giving out microloans on the honor system, hoping that just enough of us mess up, not catastrophically, but just enough to keep the cash flowing. They don't need you to be wildly irresponsible. Just human, a little forgetful, a little overwhelmed, and maybe get your paycheck delayed. But if you think this ends with fees and spending habits, you haven't seen what's under the hood, because buy now, pay later apps are all about data. Whether you complete the purchase immediately or come back 24 hours later, they know, and they're building a behavioral profile more intimate than your Instagram or Netflix history. That data gets fed into algorithms that drive personalized ads, hyper-targeted upsells, and predictive models that anticipate what you'll buy before you even think about it. Your spending style becomes a product that's sold, analyzed, and monetized over and over again. Here's one of the weirdest little finance hacks buy now, pay later companies pull, and unless you're deep in the fintech world, you probably haven't heard of it. It's called float. Let's say you buy something today using buy now, pay later, and the provider pays the merchant on your behalf. You now owe the buy now, pay later company $200 across 4 payments. But you're not paying that $200 immediately. It's coming in gradually over 6 weeks. In the meantime, that buy now, pay later company is holding the financial liability and sitting on a giant pool of cash flow. And what do you do with a giant pool of temporarily idle money? You invest it. Even short-term interest yields or treasury buys can generate passive income. So without lifting a finger, they're earning on money that technically doesn't belong to them because the system is built to delay. Even if you never pay a late fee, even if you always pay on time, even if you never fall into debt, you're still making them money just by existing inside their timeline. So we can say that this isn't a system targeting people who are actually bad with money, it's targeting people who are barely making it. That "I'll have it next Friday" crowd. The "I get paid in 2 days" energy. The "I'm fine, but I just need to move things around" kind of broke. Buy now, pay later thrives in that gray area between struggle and stability. The illusion is that it's helping, but what it's actually doing is getting you more comfortable living on the edge, stretching the rubber band just a little further, a little longer. And when things go wrong with a job loss, surprise expense, or a rent spike, that's when the rubber band snaps. Because guess what's still due? Those payments. That moisturizer you bought 3 weeks ago is still waiting to be paid off, and you can't return it now. But here's where it gets especially sneaky. The original Pay in 4 model was supposed to be short-term, but now companies like Affirm and Klarna are offering longer-term loans, 6 months, 12 months, even 24 months. And those do come with interest, sometimes as high as 36% APR, which is more than many credit cards. So the same company that lured you in with no interest ever now offers you a sleek, clickable way to rack up full-on consumer debt. Except it doesn't feel like a loan. It feels like convenience. That's the genius of buy now, pay later. It doesn't walk like credit, it doesn't sound like debt. But under the hood, it's the same game with prettier branding. Okay, so maybe you're not ditching buy now, pay later entirely. Fair. Life is expensive, timing is weird, and sometimes you really just want to break something up. If you're going to use it, treat it like you're dealing with a wild animal. Fascinating, but dangerous if not handled carefully. First, never buy now, pay later something you couldn't just buy outright today. The minute you're using it to afford something, you're not leveraging a tool, you're digging a hole. Second, don't use buy now, pay later for repeat purchases. Groceries, gas, and utility bills. If you're financing them, you're not budgeting. You're borrowing from future you, and she's already tired. Third, track your payments. Write them down. You can make a spreadsheet, use a calendar, or do something that makes them real, visible, and impossible to forget. Fourth, turn off autopay. It feels convenient, but it removes friction, and friction is what makes you pause before overspending. Retyping your card info might be annoying, but so is waking up to a drained account and a $35 overdraft. Fifth, and this one's key, know when you're being played. That little dopamine spike when you see approved and don't feel the pain of the full cost is not a win. That's the beginning of a very quiet transaction, not just with your money, but with your habits, your data, and your attention. So that $13 soap taught me more about debt than any finance class. Buy now, pay later seems painless until the bills stack faster than your cards. If this hits home, send it to the friend who swears Klarna is basically free. And don't miss part 2, how these companies profit even when you never miss a payment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching.